Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is just my video resume. I'm going to be reading through my resume that I have on file. I'll try to elaborate where I can on bits and pieces, but that's the most accurate. I can put things down on paper a little bit better than I can read them. Anyway, just starting with my first job ever, straight out of school, BlueScope Lysart. That was my introductory into the transport industry. It used to be called Lysart originally, then it went to BHP Building Products, and then later on changed its name to BlueScope. So I went through a few name changes. But while I worked there, I worked rotating day, afternoon and night shift rosters, loading trucks with roll-formed housing materials such as your custom orb and guttering and the like. Also had to learn how to operate many of the machines, turning basically flat coil steel into corrugated roof sheeting and guttering. At that time, Lysart used to be owned by BHP. BHP, that the introductory there basically is BHP had a high level of safety, so we went through a lot of health and safety training and quality assurance training because we had a lot of quality standards with our roofing iron and our guttering and steel products. I had to be able to work in a team environment. As I said, it was my first job coming out of school, so it was basically my introductory to working in a team environment. Also had to work independently as well at times, but mostly in a team environment, which was quite good because it was you had to basically work with others for a start, and you had fun and got the job done, and it was an excellent first job. Pretty much from there, I sort of got a little bit of itchy feet from there, just because I was in the transport industry, didn't have my truck license. I was only involved in loading them and working in a factory. I got my my truck license, my body truck license, my semi license, and then moved up to Darwin in the Northern Territory with my partner and my first son, and worked for Shaw's Transport up there, where I basically got really extensive knowledge about how to do general freight, which was pretty much everything from you could be loading oil machines, oil and gas equipment, heavy earth moving machinery, also any general palletized freight that would come up from Brisbane or Sydney or Western Australia to Darwin, then obviously backloading to go back to those destinations. It was a job that I started off just in the yard, then basically progressed from my body truck license to my semi license and then to my road train license, where after I got that, pretty much did around town and any work that was down the track. As you can imagine, Darwin's pretty isolated, so you only have to drive 50-60 kilometres out of Darwin and you're heading out into the bush, where we'd once again do all sorts of stuff, picking up machines and doing a lot of produce, watermelons, mangoes, as far south from Darwin as Katherine, just as a local day run. And then after I pretty much did all that sort of local work, I just branched into doing line haul work, going from both as a solo operator and as a two-up operator, express to Perth and Sydney and Brisbane. I've done millions of kilometres in a truck. It was an excellent job. I had the opportunity to go to another company after that, in Simon National Carriers. I tried to leave the Northern Territory, and there was no available positions for me to go to in in Shores back down to Brisbane. So I joined Simon National Carriers for 12 months, which pretty much I did as it was basically the same sort of, the company did the same sort of thing, cart, general freight and produce, and then basically got an opportunity to go and do a drive-in, drive-out mining gig out of Pine Creek, driving quad road train side tippers. By this time I had a marriage breakup, so I was basically a single dad, so I had to do a bit of a job that was going to pay the bills. It was a 2 weeks on, 1 week off roster. It was very good pay. Had to take the opportunity to grab that. That's why I left Simon's Transport, and pretty much stayed there for 4 years while I while I was trying to raise my children. So every time I'd have time off, I'd take my two sons and have them, and we'd do a lot of different things, and quad bike riding and the like. It was a pretty good job. The role sort of entailed just we had to do 3 to 4 loads a day. It was local. The trips were sort of 2.5, 3 hours round trip, from where the mine site was to where the ROM pad and the processing mill was at Union Reef in Pine Creek. And they were sort of 12-hour shifts, but we also had to self-load our own trucks with loaders, and and that was pretty much the job in a nutshell. We just turned up to work, we carted ore from the mine to the ROM pad, and did that for 12 hours and then went home. So it was a good job. It was my introductory to mining. Already had the safety background and experience with when I worked at Lysa, when BHP operated that place. Their safety was second to none. I believe they were sort of like the leaders when it came to health and safety and quality and the like. When I worked for the Gulf Transport, it was just a continuation on, and working in a mining environment, it just flowed on. So I was very lucky to be able to have a position there. So from that, I sort of basically wanted to have a bit of a change.